All right, in this video, we're going to continue with our Module 4 review, beginning with question 5. So here, Susan wants to learn more about how temperature changes in her city. She creates a table that shows the low temperatures for 2 days. The table is below. Which of the following statements is correct? All right, so let's take a look at the table. So we have 2 days here in the first column, day 1 and day 2. And in the second column, this is the low temperature for the 2 days. So she lives in a very cold place. Day 1, it's -8 degrees. Day 2, it's -3 degrees. So looking at the answer choices, they're all asking about a slope. So let's go ahead and find the slope of these 2 days. So thinking about these as ordered pairs, the independent variable will be the day, and the temperature will be the dependent variable. All right, so question 5. All right, so our ordered pairs are 1, -8, and then 2, -3. So don't forget your formula for slope. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. My ordered pairs, I'll label x1, y1, and then x2, y2. Okay, so in the formula, I have -3 minus -8, and then 2 minus 1 in the denominator. All right, we haven't looked too much at negative numbers, but a negative could become a positive, or you could just use your calculator and type that whole thing in. This would be +5. 2 minus 1 is 1. So this is a change of 5 degrees for 1 day. And it's a +5 degrees. All right, so let's take a look. The slope here is +5 over 1. So let's take a look at part A. The slope between the data points is positive because 2 negatives makes a positive. Well, it's positive because when we subtract it, so let's see if there's a better choice. B says negative, so that's no good. C, the slope between the 2 data points is positive because the temperature increased from day 1 to day 2. So if we're thinking about an interpretation of this slope, the temperature would rise, go up 5 degrees for that 1 day. So choice C is the best choice. So there again, making the calculation using the formula and also interpreting by using the units really can help you understand the question. Going on to question 6. Insurance companies often try to calculate the average life expectancy, that is, how long different populations can reasonably be expected to live. The companies do this for men and women and for people across all ethnicities. The equation L equals 0.37y plus 40 is a way of calculating a reasonable life expectancy for African American females. This equation is based on Y, the year that the women were born. Y is measured as the number of years since 1900. What is the birth year for females who have a life expectancy of 75? All right, so here let's write out the linear model that we are given. L equals 0.37y plus 40. So Y is the year that they were born. L is the life expectancy. So we want the birth year for females who have a life expectancy of 75. So we're replacing the life expectancy L with 75 and solving for Y. So here, solving for Y, first thing we want to do is subtract 40. So 35 equals 0.37y, and then we're dividing both sides by 0.37. This will give us our Y. Y is the number of years from 1900. So I'm dividing 35 by 0.37. That gives me about 94.6. So I'm just going to round that to the nearest whole number, about 95. So 95 is approximately equal to Y. So again, Y is the number of years since 1900, so we want to add 1900 plus 95, which gives us the year 1995. And again, we rounded a little bit. It was a little bit less than 95. It was 94.6. So again, we have an option between 2 years for our choices too. So the best option here would be choice D, where we have between 1994 and 1995. Again, this question was all about using the linear model. The linear model is given. It's really about solving that equation, knowing what to plug in where and which variable you're solving for. All right, number 7 is a really good question to study to help you prepare for both the assessment and for the final exam. Really good question. Helen borrowed money from her aunt to pay for college expenses. The graph below shows the amount left on the loan as it is paid off over time. Use the graph to answer the questions. All right, so all of the questions ask you a mathematical number, or a quantity, and then the meaning in the context of the situation. So again, this is a really important question for you to study, not only for the assessment, but for the final exam. You're just reading the information from the graph. So for part A, you are asked about the slope. So you should be able to tell me the slope as a number and then interpret it in the meaning of the situation. All right, so to find the slope, we just need 2 points on the line. And we're given, several different points that we could read. This first point is a nice point to read because you're given this number here is 13,000, and that's for 0 months. So that first ordered pair would be 0 and then 13,000. Another ordered pair would be here, and again, you could pick any of these. This one wouldn't be so bad to read here. I'm going to pick this one. So at 130 months, the amount left on the loan would be 0. So that ordered pair would be 130, 0. So once again, we can use our slope formula. You should have this memorized. All right, so here I'll call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So I have 0 minus 13,000 over 130 minus 0. So it gives me negative 13,000 over 130. I'm going to put the units here as well. The units are going to help me with the second part of this question. This is money, negative $13,000, and this is months. So let's write this as a unit rate. So I'm going to divide. Since one of the values is negative, the whole thing will be negative. So 13,000 divided by 130 gives me 100. Well, that's a negative 100. So that means negative $100 per month. So in the context of this situation, that can be interpreted as the amount of money left on the loan, or the amount of money on the loan goes down, decreases by $100 per month. So this would answer the question of the slope, right? The slope would be negative 100, but the meaning would be the amount on the loan decreases by $100 each month. So just write it in a complete sentence. Use the units as you need them. All right, now that's just for part A. For part B, we're asked to find the horizontal intercept and then interpret the meaning, and then for C, the vertical intercept and interpret the meaning. The intercepts can be found right from the graph, So for part B, the horizontal intercept, find your horizontal axis, the one that goes left to right. Find where the graph hits that horizontal axis, and that's at 130. So for the horizontal intercept, is 130. In this situation, the meaning is the number of months that it takes her to pay off the loan. So meaning it takes 130 months to pay off the loan. And so usually the horizontal intercept has something to do with, what happens at the end, right? When everything goes down to 0. In this case, it's when the amount on the loan goes down to 0. All right, so now for part C, we're asked about the vertical intercept. So we can find the vertical intercept from the graph, which is right here, where it hits the vertical axis. So that's at $13,000. So again, think about what that means in the context of this situation. So the vertical intercept itself is 13,000. In this situation, this is the amount of money borrowed. So the vertical intercept is usually the starting amount in that situation. So in this situation, you start that loan, it's the amount of money that you borrowed initially. So again, just think in terms of the situation, think about what is the beginning, what is the end. Vertical intercept has to do with the beginning, horizontal intercept has to do with what's happening at the end. So again, a very important question for the assessment and for the final exam, where you have to be able to find the slope, the intercepts, and then interpret the meaning. All right, and that's it for Module 4.